In today's climate, nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights today. Shoot better. Stay safer. Crimson Trace.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. It's a new, smaller storage solution from Liberty Safe. Plus, your range reports. Call 866-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
All righty, we're going to be talking about guns for 3-4 hours. You know what? I'll talk about guns as long as I want to because nobody can stop me. Well, they haven't been able to so far anyway. Started when I was probably about 5, maybe 4. Been doing it ever since. Now I just get to do it on the radio. By the way, if you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm Tom Gresham. The show is called Tom Gresham's Gun Talk because, God, who else would do this silly thing? We get to talk about guns and shooting and ammo and gear and scopes and optics and just stuff. And we talk about responsibility of firearms ownership. You are, in fact, responsible, of course. You need to behave in a responsible manner. We help each other with tips, with suggestions. We enjoy the shooting sports, trap, skeet, sporting clays, rifles, pistols, archery, doesn't matter, short range, long range. We like to go out and shoot, and we enjoy the personal challenge that comes from the shooting sports. What do I mean by personal challenge? Shooting is a very cerebral sport. The real action is between your ears because that's where the battle is. It's not a team sport. It is a sport where he, she, you, I go to the line and we have to try to control everything, breathing, our movements, eyesight, focus, eye focus and mental focus to get a bullet or a cloud of shot to go to a certain place at a certain time, at a certain distance, factoring in movement of target, factoring in movement of us, factoring in wind, factoring in whatever else is out there. I actually have called it this. Shooting is like having the ultimate remote control in your hand, isn't it? You push the button here, something happens over there. I mean, no wonder guys like this, and more women are into it. We just finished up, speaking of women, finished our final edit on the first Gun Talk episode of the season. Starts running on the Pursuit channel here in about a month or so. And it's all about the first ever National Ladies 3-Gun Championship. And it was different and it was wonderful and it was really a lot of fun. I was so glad that we were able to be a part of that. And I am certain that you're going to enjoy this show. I'm not even going to say I think. I'm certain you will enjoy this show. I would be very surprised if you don't. And it's a chance to watch what happens when you start removing the barriers and invite people to come shooting. And these were 200 women from all over the country who came together in a 3-gun championship. They got to shoot rifles, pistols, handguns. And for some of them, it was their first 3-gun match. It was crazy. And for some, of course, they were the champion shooters. But when you invite them and remove the barriers, that is, in this case, it was the, I don't know what you call it, the intimidation factor of not wanting to be judged. I actually had one woman said, you know, I like a women's shooting event. I like a women's class because I don't feel like I'm being judged all the time. Okay, that's cool. I haven't walked in those stilettos, so I don't know. I have no way of judging that. I don't know, but I'll take your word for it. It makes sense to me in a certain way. I get that. But they were having so much fun, and they were so very competitive. And there were some really good shots. It was cool. So we talk about that. We'll also talk, of course, about self-defense. People are using guns for self-defense all the time, every day, across the country. Hundreds, listen to me, hundreds of times a day in the United States, people use guns successfully to stop crime, to stop rape, to stop people who are trying to kill them, to stop home invasions, good people using guns to stop bad people hundreds of times a day. And yet you still, bizarrely, weirdly, unbelievably, we still hear people say, well, self-defense with a gun is a myth. That never really happens. All you have to do is set up a Google Alerts or do a search online, start looking around, and you see hundreds of them. It happens all the time. And this is not according to the NRA. No. This is according to local news services, news sources. I don't care if it's the Salt Lake Paper or the Houston Chronicle, or the Dallas Morning News, or the Chicago Tribune, or wherever you go, there are stories about good people using guns successfully in self-defense. I'll have some good examples for you in just a minute. The other thing we do here is we love, this will not surprise anyone, we love to shoot the breeze about guns and gear and fun stuff and taking people to the range and how much fun that is, taking youngsters out and having them shoot for the first time and enjoy their shooting experience and getting into the sport. I just got back from a summit meeting. It's kind of a think tank meeting held by the National Shooting Sports Foundation about the shooting sports, about the firearms industry, about looking down the road, where are we going, not just a year or two or 10, but maybe 20, 30, 40 years. And a lot of what we talked about this time was the changing demographics of the United States. Look to 2050 and how it changes with the makeup of blacks, Hispanics, Asians, and what does that mean for the shooting sports? How inviting are the shooting sports? Do these various groups all react the exact same way when invited to go shooting? How do they feel about shooting, the shooting sports, about guns? Very interesting conversations, very thought-provoking presentations. I actually was able to give one little bitty presentation. It was a bunch of fun. But as I say, we love talking about our gear. So here's my call to you. If you have a range report, we love to have that. 866-TALK-GUN is our number here. If you've taken out a gun, an optic, a type of ammo, it could be an old gun. It could be something that your father or grandfather left you. It could be something brand new. Doesn't matter. We just love to get the range reports. Or you took a friend to the range and get that experience, that report from you. Again, it's 866-TALK-GUN. Gets you in here. There are, of course, other ways to reach me. All you have to do is shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com, get you in. Over on Twitter, I am @GunTalk, and we have that going. You can join us over there at any given time. In the meantime, give me a holler. 866-TALK-GUN, get you in. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk.
Experts agree that the low-range variable rifle scope is best for most situations. Now, Trijicon offers a stunning 1-to-6 power variable in the AccuPoint line. Featuring a battery-free illuminated reticle, superior glass clarity, and rugged construction, it's the one scope you need for hunting and competition. Long eye relief, aircraft-grade aluminum housing, manual brightness override. See the 1-to-6 power AccuPoint at Trijicon.com. Trijicon.com.
The Ruger American Rimfire rifle combines features of the Ruger American rifle and innovations of the 1022 Rimfire rifle to appeal to all bolt-action enthusiasts. It features a modular stock system that provides comb height options for scope or iron sight use, a power bedding integral bedding block system for outstanding accuracy, a Ruger Marksman adjustable trigger, and a 1022 style rotary magazine for reliable feeding. The Ruger American Rimfire rifle, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Crossbreed Holsters is broadening our product selection to serve more of your concealed carry needs. With products handmade in the USA, like the bedside backup, gun belts, and of course our world-famous Super Tuck and Mini Tuck holsters, we understand what works, and we take pride in providing you with a quality product. At Crossbreed Holsters, we live and breathe concealed carry. We make and sell products that we believe in and products that our customers love. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com.
Inaccurate is just plain worthless. Doesn't matter if you're shooting for a national championship or just trying to beat your friend, you need accurate ammo. Nosler's match-grade handgun ammunition delivers. You get Nosler Sporting Handgun and custom competition bullets in Nosler head-stamped brass, loaded to the same strict tolerances as Nosler's match-grade rifle ammo. Handgun accuracy through match-grade ammo. Available in 9mm, 40, and 45. Visit Nosler.com.
Welcome back. I mentioned that there are just hundreds and hundreds of stories every day of people using guns for self-defense. In most cases, the trigger is not pulled. In most cases, good guy pulls out a gun, bad guy says, ooh, gee, I think I need to be somewhere else, and runs away. No harm, no foul, goes away. But in some cases, people do in fact have to shoot the bad guy. Just for example, here's a few for your consideration. Let's see. North Carolina. One person is dead after a home invasion and shooting at a residence in Winterville late Friday night. The Winterville Police Department responded to a home invasion at approximately 10:40. Upon arrival, officers found one man shot inside the residence. Let's see. Police report signs of forcible entry. The suspect was armed with a handgun. When he entered the residence, one of the occupants of the home shot the suspect several times. Speaking to residents, police found that the suspect was the estranged husband, etc., etc. Dialysis patient pulls gun on man to prevent robbery. This is in the Detroit area. A Waterford man prevented a robbery by pulling his weapon on an armed suspect early Tuesday. According to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, 49-year-old victim was approached by the suspect about 4:40 a.m. outside the dialysis center. The victim had just arrived for an appointment for his dialysis when the suspect approached the vehicle from a wooded area. The suspect stood at the passenger side of the vehicle and asked for the victim's wallet. The victim refused, and the suspect pulled a small revolver from inside his hoodie. The victim told police he then pulled his own gun on the suspect and said, "Do you really want to do this?" The suspect responded, "Have a nice day," and took off running. There you go. No shots fired. Bad guy goes away. Armed bad guy, I might mention. Aurora, Colorado. Yes, that Aurora. An investigation is underway after a shooting killed one person and injured two others. Here's the cliff notes on this. Two guys are helping another guy move into a condo. And while these three guys are moving the stuff in, three other guys show up to rob them and pull a gun on them. Said two of the movers were about to hand over their money, but a third mover had his own gun and used it. Fired multiple shots at three subjects, all in a 10 by 6 foot space between two doors, probably the entry vestibule or something. Says one of the suspects sustained life-threatening wounds at the scene. The district attorney general says Colorado self-defense law allows the use of deadly force. They pronounced it a good shoot. Let's see here. Center, Texas. This goes on and on. This is just a week's worth, okay? Center, Texas, during an alleged assault that occurred at a storage unit business in Center, a man shot a 32-year-old illegal immigrant in the leg. According to the police department, officers responded to a shot. When they arrived on the scene, they learned through eyewitness accounts that surveillance video that 59-year-old somebody was, I'm not going to give out the name, was assaulted by this other fellow, 32-year-old illegal immigrant. Let's see. The good guy was able to get his gun out. Goes on. Now, here's the one that I wanted to read for you. You may have already heard of this one. Some people will still say after all these years, well, gee, can't you guys just compromise? After all, what's wrong with the waiting period? How about a cooling off period when you want to buy a gun? Waiting periods kill good people. Waiting periods result in the death of good people. Waiting periods get women killed. It's as simple as that. Waiting periods don't save any lives. In New Jersey, a woman is stabbed to death while waiting for the state's permission to get a gun. Carol Brown, Berlin Township, New Jersey, applied for a license to own a handgun. She wanted to protect herself against a former boyfriend, and she already had a restraining order against this guy. Well, turns out She waited and waited and waited for her gun permit. She's legal. She's honest. She's law-abiding. She's going to do it right. She applies for the permit. It doesn't come. She goes back and checks on it. They say, well, these things take time, months and months to get your permit to just not to carry a gun, just to buy a gun in New Jersey. Guy breaks in. He's a convicted felon. He kills her. Latest reports are he actually has killed himself now. Let's see here. Another one, just the last one for you, just as we're running through these things. A woman in her middle 30s pulls into an Exxon station at 6 p.m. She's in the driver's seat when a man suddenly gets into the passenger side. He pulled out a knife and demanded her cash. The woman agreed and reached over to her purse, but instead of the money, she pulled out a pistol. She shot him one time in the left shoulder, according to the deputy. That'll work. Yeah. Waiting periods result in the deaths primarily of women. Happens over and over again. I could come up with a dozen stories similar to this one. Waiting periods are immoral. They are unconscionable. To tell somebody, yes, we know you have a restraining order, and yes, we know that he wants to kill you, and yes, we know he's tried to break into your house before, but, we think we ought to do, background check on you, and it's going to take, the paperwork takes a while. It could be 3-4 months. But hey, after all, you've got a restraining order. It's a really, really strong piece of paper. Let's go to the phones. Line 3, Bill's with us out of Casper, Wyoming. Bill, what happened when you went to the range? Let's see. Do we have Bill? Hey, Bill, you there in Casper? All right. Tell you what, let's drop all the way down to line 2. John's out of Fort Dodge, Iowa. Hey, John, welcome to Gun Talk.
Hi, Tom. How you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
Range report for you. I was just out prairie dog hunting in South Dakota last week and had a Barska scope on a DPMS Oracle 223, and man, I tell you what, talk about a sweet setup that I put together there. I fired probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 375 rounds, and I had over 300 kills. So,
wow. What kind of ranges?
I was very, very happy. I'm sorry?
How far out were you shooting?
Oh, they averaged anywhere from about 250 to 500 yards.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, DPMS rifle, and was it a Barska, did you say?
Yes, sir. I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, they're junk, and I don't know if I just got lucky with the one that I got, but I've been very, very happy with it to this point.
Okay, well, there you go. I'm glad it worked for you. I appreciate the range report. Absolutely great, John. Thank you, sir. Let's grab Bobby on line 1. He's in Casper, Wyoming also. Hey, Bobby, welcome to Gun Talk.
Hey, you're talking about all these stories and stuff where a gun's used and most times the trigger's not pulled. I'm a life member of the NRA, and each month they have 8 or 10 news clippings in there with the armed citizen, and you're right, that very seldom does the trigger get pulled. It thwarts whatever crimes being put out there, and people ought to share that with folks that think that that doesn't happen all the time, and that covers the whole country.
No, you're exactly right, Bobby, and that's kind of where I got the idea. Was the American Rifleman has this monthly page called the Armed Citizens. They've been doing that for years and years, and it's the most read page in the magazine. And what they do is, and again, this is not the NRA saying this. These are actually reports from the news, and they give the source. It's the whatever the newspaper is, or they say this is where we got the story. A couple of thoughts on this. For every story you see in the newspaper of somebody who shot somebody in self-defense, there are 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 times when somebody pulls a gun out, doesn't shoot, and doesn't even call it in. Now, I would submit to you, my personal belief, that these days, more so even than in the past, if you have to pull your gun out, even if you don't shoot anybody with it, you must call 911. And you must call them immediately. Here's why. First of all, there's video everywhere. There are security cameras everywhere. Somebody may have seen you and call it in and, hey, there's somebody who pulled a gun on somebody. Or, actually, more likely is the bad guys call 911 and say, hey, we were minding our own business, went up to talk to this dude, and he just lost his mind and pulled a gun on us. I don't know what's up with that, but you got to go get this crazy guy. Generally speaking, the first call that goes in gets to be the complainer or the plaintiff, and whoever is left gets to be the defendant. You want to be the first call in, even if you didn't pull the trigger. Now, I know people say, well, if I'm not legally carrying where I am, well, you got an issue there, and you got to figure out what's going to work for you. Well, I'm here to tell you that the idea you're thinking, well, nobody saw it, I just won't call it in. Somebody saw it. There was somebody on the other end of your gun who ran away. And that somebody, guarantee you, has a cell phone in his pocket. And probably this is not his first time to come in contact with the criminal justice system. And he or she probably understands that the first person who calls 911 gets to be the complainer, and the other person gets to be the one who's being investigated that the cops are looking for. You want to be the first one to call it in. I'm just telling you, think about this. Consider this. So I'm glad we're able to cover some of this. Lots and lots of instances of people using guns for self-defense. Part of the reason? Certainly. Over the last 20 years, a 40 to 50% decline in quote-unquote gun crimes. Yeah, according to the FBI, not the NRA, according to the FBI, amazing. Gun crimes are down. We're safer. You got more people carrying guns, more people owning guns. Crime keeps going down. Who'd have thunk it?
Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
During the break, we're shopping for guns, of course, online, having some fun. I got a release from the folks at Lipsy's Springfield. They've got a couple of new distributor exclusives. I want to talk about distributor exclusives for just a second. Springfield Armory, 2 new suppressor-ready XDM pistols. Let's see, this is the XDM 4.5, one in 9mm and one in 45 ACP. They come with threaded barrels and tall sights, so you can use them on your suppressed pistol. Those are available only from Lipsy's. And here's the deal. There are a number of distributors out there, probably, I don't know, a couple of dozen, but probably a dozen of them do this kind of thing. And one we work with a good bit is the folks at Davidson's, the Gallery of Guns, and I just looked over there and was looking at a new Ruger 22 pistol, all red, anodized, very cool, on the galleryofguns.com website. And again, these are exclusive. Now, you can get them, you order them there, and they go through your local gun store. And so you're actually buying them really from your local gun store. But it's a pretty sweet operation. But there are guns out there that you don't see in the catalogs. And so you need to check the websites of the manufacturers and of the distributors to see some of the neat stuff that's being offered. And a lot of it is very interesting, good looking. The kind of thing that when you take it to the range, your buddy's going to go, what is that? And you go, oh man, I got to tell you about this. That's worth it just in and of itself. Walter's on line 3. He's calling us out of Hanford, California. Hello, Walter. Welcome to Gun Talk.
Hello, Tom. I've got a range report and one short announcement if I can. I had called in before because I was doing some modifications to my Remington 700, and it was a 308, and I installed a new bottom metal that I picked up from Brownells, and I went to a store in Fresno called Full Spectrum Firearms, and they do machining and a lot of firearms work. And I had them shorten the barrel by 6 inches. They threaded it, and we wound up with fluting the barrel. They made a cap for it, and they re-anodized it for me, and it's a completely different rifle now. It's extremely accurate, 500 yards, and also I wound up getting a Barrett-style muzzle brake, and what a difference that made for it. And
now, so what's the barrel length now? Did you end up with like a 16 inch or so?
No, it's 20 inches. 20 inches to the end. I stayed with that. I didn't want it a little too short, but it's so good to shoot now. It's just amazing. It's improved my accuracy with it. It's much lighter. I felt it used to be really nose heavy with the 26-inch barrel, and now it's just a dream to shoot, and it's extremely accurate. They did exceptional work on it.
And tell us once again the name of the outfit that did the work.
Beg your pardon?
What was the outfit that did the work on it?
Full Spectrum Firearms in Fresno, California.
Okay, good deal. Like to give a shout out whenever somebody does good work. I appreciate that.
Can also add one other thing. We have a brand new firearms store and indoor range called King's Gun Center in Kings County, California. Brand new, just open. So we're doing really well.
Have you been there?
Yes, they're brand new, wide open.
That is fabulous. I love to hear about new ranges being built because we always hear about ranges being threatened and shut down. So that is outstanding. Now, that is an indoor range. Do you have an idea of how many lanes, how many shooting lanes they have there?
I believe they have 12 lanes.
Oh, that's very nice. Very good. So that's I love that. I just love getting reports like that. So, Walter, thank you for the range report. Sounds like your project gun turned out terrific. And great new range in Kings County, California. You know, when you get a project done, like Walter's talking about, where you take your gun and send it to somebody, a gunsmith, they tweak it, they modify it, you're a part of the process. You may not be putting your hands on the gun and doing the work, but you're making the decisions. You're saying, okay, I want the barrel to be this long. And they said, well, you know, we could flute this barrel. You go, well, let's talk about that. Okay, well, fluted. That sounds like fun. Yes, it might reduce the weight a little bit, but what it really does is just makes it really good looking. We're going to change the stock. Yep, right. We're going to shorten the barrel. Right. We're going to thread the barrel. We're going to stick this great muzzle brake on it. We're going to put new bottom metal on it. For those of you who don't know, bottom metal is the trigger guard and the floor plate on a Remington 700. And there are a lot of different types out there, and some of them, this is all very subtle now, understand that. But when you look at really nice bottom metal, it's designed well, it has a more elegant look, a sleeker look. You realize that the factory trigger guard on a lot of these rifles is a little bit clunky looking. And then you get the smooth, great lines of a trigger guard, and it all. And again, I understand this is getting pretty gun geeky, and it's very subtle. But then again, aren't the lines on a nice rifle pretty subtle? The lines on a great stock, the one you look at and you go, yeah, it's okay, and the other you look at and you go, wow, that's really something. And if you had to sit there and describe the differences, you would be hard pressed. You say, well, you know, it's just better looking. And then you pick it up and you go, oh yeah, that's the difference right there. It feels better, and of course you knew it was going to feel better because it looked better. And so why not do a project like that? And you're not going to do it to all your guns. I get that. And yes, you're going to spend some money on it. And the gun, very possibly, not always, but possibly, you're going to have more in the gun than you can get out of it. And I hear people say that all the time, to which my answer is, so what? Do you really like your gun? Yeah, I love the gun. Are you going to sell your gun? No, not a chance. Then why do you care? You spent the money to get it just the way you wanted it, and now it is out freaking standing. And Walter's calling us and telling us all about his gun. Have you ever tweaked a gun, even done a little bit of a modification to it? Let me know. Give us a range report, 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. That'll get you in here. In the meantime, shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk, looking for your range reports, questions, comments, and if you really, 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 really hate guns, call me. We'll talk about that too.
Who will you trust with your guns and valuables? Liberty safes are the best built and most secure safes on the planet. They sell more gun safes than any other brand. It's about trust earned through performance. If your Liberty safe is damaged by fire or attempted break-in, they'll send a new safe right to your home. Protection from thieves and fire. Trust the #1 maker of quality gun safes. LibertySafe.com.
The XDM 3.8 Compact from Springfield Armory is 2 guns in 1. Use as your concealed carry gun with a compact magazine and use the extended magazine for home defense. Carry 13 rounds of 9mm in the compact magazine and a whopping 19 rounds in the extended magazine. To see the entire family of Springfield Armory XDM pistols, go to SpringfieldArmory.com. That's SpringfieldArmory.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Gresham. For more than 40 years, I've been watching an environmental disaster in my backyard, and it actually impacts all sportsmen in America. I'm talking about the massive loss of land on the Louisiana coastline. The U.S. Geological Survey said the swamps and marshes of coastal Louisiana are among the nation's most fragile and valuable wetlands. That land is disappearing. The Mississippi River Delta hosts as many as 10 million ducks and geese every winter. These are birds which migrate northward through the states, all the way to Canada. The wetlands of the Delta support some of America's best fresh and saltwater fishing. And here's the deal. The wetlands of the Mississippi River Delta are disappearing at a rate of 1 football field every hour. 1 football field every hour. Gone. We can reconnect the river with its wetlands and restore the Delta, but we need your help. Please visit vanishingparadise.org. That's vanishingparadise.org.
You may be a new shooter, a longtime gun owner, or even a police officer or soldier. No personal defense handgun is fully equipped without a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our new laser training video, The Laser's Edge, Crimson Trace.
Well, let's see who takes credit. Who's going to line up to take credit for all of this in Texas? Lots of things going on in Texas this week. Out of the New York Times, no less, Texas lawmakers pass a bill allowing guns at colleges. Actually, in typical fashion, the New York Times gets it wrong again. No, it was already legal in Texas to carry guns. It is right now to carry guns on college campuses, just not in the buildings on college campuses. But the legislature has passed a bill that would allow concealed carry handguns in classrooms, dormitories, and other buildings, but with a lot of restrictions, and we don't even know what the restrictions are yet, because the bill essentially, and it's probably going to be signed by the Republican governor, Greg Abbott, what the bill does is it allows the colleges to decide which buildings will be off limits. We don't even know what that's going to mean, what that's going to look like. But still, it is, it's been fodder for an awful lot of conversation, for a lot of opinions. I'd love to get, if you're in Texas, what are you hearing? What are your friends saying? Are there people who say, well, I just don't think that's a good idea because, those college students, blah, 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 blah. Really? Did you even stop and look at the law? Did you look at it? You have to have a concealed carry permit. In Texas, they call it a CHL, Concealed Handgun License. You have to be 21 years old to get that. Of course, you have to take the class. You have to be fingerprinted. You have to be photographed. You have to have a background check done. what this actually does, because you'll hear people say, well, college students. No, this actually has almost nothing to do with college students. What this does is lets people who already can carry everywhere else, pretty much in the state, and can carry walking across campus, go into buildings. It has no effect. Let me say that again. It has no effect whatsoever on bad guys. Because the bad guys you see don't really obey the law. So people say, well, this is just going to let just anybody come in and they could go crazy. And well, actually, no, they can come in right now and go crazy. The only difference is right now you can't have anything with you in the building to stop them from going crazy and wanting to kill as many people as possible. Those people have always been free to come onto campuses, been free to go into dormitories and classrooms. They are free to do these things because nothing stops them. There's no gate, there's no fence, there's no metal detector. They can walk onto campus and they can do these things. This bill says if you're in a building on a campus and they haven't listed it as being off limits, you could in fact defend yourself. Now, the award in the silly comments contest on this must go to Texas professor Jessica Goulian, I believe is how you pronounce her name, a sociology professor at Texas Women's University in Denton. She wrote in Newsweek that students would use the law to intimidate professors into boosting their grades. She cites an instance where a student lashed out at her, supposedly, in a class for giving her a lower grade than the student expected. So the question is, she says, that our professor, our learned professor, will we soon see a new sort of grade inflation, with students earning a 4.0 GPA with their firepower rather than their brain power? And if so, what sort of future citizenry will we be building on our campuses? Professor, even as we speak today, last year, the year before, 10 years before, that student you're talking to could still be carrying a gun illegally. There's nothing that prevented that from happening. Well, yes, there was a law. Really? Really? There was a law. Thank you. You're afraid that teachers are going to start giving good grades to students because they're afraid of the students? And then, of course, you had the people who said, well, it will be difficult to recruit professors and instructors in Texas if this gets passed. I don't think so. The saddest part of this whole conversation, for me personally, was one of the real opponents of the campus carry bill was a former Navy SEAL, Admiral William McRaven. Now, McRaven is also the chancellor of the 15-campus University of Texas system. He says, I love guns. I'm a guy that likes guns, but I just don't think that bringing guns on campus is going to make us any safer. If you've ever been shot at, which I have, then you have an appreciation for what a gun can do. Really? Really? Not the first former military person I've heard who says, leave this to the professionals. I'm the only one in this room qualified to have a Glock 40. Yeah. And being a SEAL and maybe being an admiral doesn't make you qualified to say you're the only one who should be able to protect himself on campus. Because you're not going to be there when that co-ed is assaulted, are you? Oh, but you'll be around at the funeral and the graveside, won't you? Here's a question I got from a listener. He does not have a gun safe. He says, I don't have kids. I don't have kids coming over. Do I still need a gun safe? What do you think? Let's see. Line 3. Chuck has joined us from Crosby, Texas. Chuck, you're up.
Hello, Tom. I taught in a state university in Texas for 10 years and went back to driving a truck. I loved my job. I loved my students. I was very successful, very popular. But I was also a retired field grade airborne military police officer, a former Harris County deputy sheriff, and I could see the crime that we had on campus and around campus, a university in the heart of downtown Houston. We had illegal aliens hired for janitors working on, cut rate contracts. They literally stole my Rice Senior ring out of my desk drawer of my locked office, along with a star sapphire that I got when I was over in the Gulf War. I didn't worry about physical assaults on me. We had teachers who literally every semester were threatened with death threats. We had criminals in class. We had criminals working on janitorial contracts. We had criminals all around the university, cutting across the university. They stole a car out of the school parking lot from one of the faculty members. And it was like a gun-free crime zone where, only the inmates were allowed to protect themselves. I
so
think
what'd you do?
Hypocrisy. By the way, that admiral, one of the things that frustrates me about the military is all flag officers have to be approved by Congress. So unless you're a liberal left-wing suck-up, you're not going to get approved by Congress for flag officer rank. Then the university professors are basically the same thing. They do not represent the students. They really don't honestly represent the faculty. They represent what the left-wing liberal Pat Schroeder lunatics want.
So, Chuck, I take it you're not a teacher anymore at the university.
Now that this has passed, I will probably go back. I said to heck with it. I could make more money driving a truck because I couldn't get tenure. For 10 years, I beat my brains out, but, your performance in the classroom will not be rewarded. I mean, that's the honest God's truth. On a university campus today, it's politics, it's Acababble Publish and Perish, it's playing the political games. That's what's going to get you tenure.
There you go. Hey, Chuck, look, I appreciate the call, and I hear the frustration and the passion, and yeah, for anybody to think that there's not a lot of crime on college campuses is a fool. Let's just call it as what it is. You'd be a fool to think that. And we also know that colleges underreport or don't report crimes because if they reported all the crimes that happened on campus, it would affect their recruiting. We know this to be the case. Colleges are, it's a good point. Jim says, colleges have a lot of easy marks. They got a lot of people walking around clueless. They got a lot of people, well, it is a victim-rich environment. It is a state-sponsored place where bad guys can go with very little chance of being interfered with. You want to rob somebody, you want to rape somebody, you want to steal from somebody, you want to take their car, you want to break into an office, there's not a lot of chances that people are going to stop you. What are they going to stop you with? Well, that may be changing in Texas. Probably will be. And a lot of other places. And for those who say, well, what if? Campus carry is allowed in half a dozen states already. Do you hear about problems there? No, you do not. Why? Oh, yeah, because only the good guys are allowed to carry, the responsible people, and the bad guys are already carrying. Same as always. Hey, when we come back, let's talk about gun safes. If you don't have kids around, do you need them? What do you think?